Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. If you have any tightness in your hips, you may want to grab your 2 yoga blocks. We are going to use them at the start for our shoulders. If not blocks, if you're at home, you could use some big, tall canned soup or some solid rolls of toilet paper. All right, so let's start in child's pose, bringing your feet together towards the rear of your mat, separating your knees wide enough so your torso can fit between your thighs. And then set up your blocks in front of you, either on their medium height, which is going to be a more pronounced stretch for the shoulders, or on their lowest height. If your shoulders are feeling pretty tight, you may want to start on the lowest height. And then have them cross your mat, set out in front of you, where you could first extend your arms forward, rotate your outer upper arms or your triceps downward so that you can broaden across your shoulders and your shoulder blades, and plug the shoulder blades down away from your neck. And then bending your elbows, place them on your blocks, exactly your shoulders distance apart. Now you may need to adjust how far away your blocks are from you so that you're able to press your fingertips into each other. And then trace your thumbs down the back of your skull, maybe down the back of your neck, as you lower your head towards the floor on your side of the blocks. Now continue to rotate your outer upper arms towards the ground, as well as slide your shoulder blades further down your back, and even allow your chest to melt towards the floor here, so it kind of softens towards the ground. But can you engage your belly lightly so it's not completely lax? It's offering some support, some lift up towards your spine. And then take notice as you settle in, as you begin to still your body, what draws your attention in this present moment? Whether it's external stimuli or something internal, like a sensation in your body or a thought. And so as we start to come to stillness, the momentum of what has been going on through our minds, our bodies, our emotions can often feel more pronounced because we don't have all these other things sort of distracting us on the outside. So we're able to pay more attention to them. My own yoga teacher trainer, Ashley Turner, says, she's a yoga psychotherapist, sometimes when we begin inner work, whether it's psychotherapy or meditation, things will feel a bit worse before they feel better. Meaning that, as the train of thought becomes more visible to one who is watching the thought, then things that have been buried, maybe through suppression or things that we may want to avoid because they're uncomfortable, maybe painful memories of the past that are still stored in our memory bank, still stored in our body's memory. And they can start to surface. And that's not a bad thing, but it can feel uncomfortable. So how do we deal with that surfacing? Well, one thing is to be aware that they are surfacing if they do. And then as you're aware, you can give yourself the signal to pause, notice what starts to come up in your body as you're observing it. Even if it's an emotion, how does the emotion feel in your body? Finding the direct experience, the energy behind the thought or the emotion, so that we can start to separate between the value, the meaning, and the storylines that we create surrounding that thought or emotion. And continue this practice of self-study. Remember, it's this within the second limb of yoga, svadhyaya. So meditation is definitely self-study. And that's what we are highlighting throughout this week and next. This week, we study the 7th limb of yoga, which is dhyana. And now, if you haven't started to, please begin to deepen your breath, allowing the sides of your rib cage to expand, lengthening from your armpits down to the outer hips, lengthening from the crown of your head, reaching forward throughout your spine to your tailbone, reaching back and down. And then filling up your belly, filling up the back of your torso, all the way up to your chest with a new breath. Let's take 3 last deep exhalations through the mouth here in child's pose. Inhaling. Take your time, sip in, linger at the top. Any sound that may want to come out, open your mouth and let it go. Linger at the bottom, let the belly soften as you've emptied the breath. And then twice more at your own pace. Now begin to unfold your arms. Set the blocks to the outsides of your mat and push them forward towards the front. And then just begin to extend your arms straight ahead, still in Balasana, still in child's pose. And can you actively reach the fingertips forward so that your elbows are actually not resting on the floor, they're straight. And then as you draw your sitting bones further back and down towards your feet, begin to walk your hands over to your right side. However far you can reach here to help stretch the left side of your torso. And even invite some deeper breaths into the left side of your rib cage and lower back. Even into the left armpit. And now if it's available to you, like you're not congested, allow your breath to enter and exit just through your nostrils. So the lips are closed, tongue is relaxed. Let's walk the hands through center. Begin to reach them over to your left side. Offer the breath up into your right side body from your outer armpit, right side ribs, right side of your lower back. Breathing deeply and evenly in and out to your nose. And then bring your hands through center, walk them back towards the outsides of your knees. And as you drop your chin towards your chest, begin to draw the belly more firmly in. Inhale, slowly rise, rolling your spine upright to stack one vertebra at a time. Now, if it's comfortable enough, go ahead and sit on your shins and bring your knees together so they're not wider apart than hips distance. If your knees need some support, take a block or two and place them right in between your ankles like a stool. Otherwise, you could bring your legs forward and then just set your hands at your chest, or one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. Empty your shoulders back and down as you lift up through the center of your spine. Allowing a moment here to pause and just center in on your intention for your practice today. What quality are you embodying or cultivating, bringing forth from within yourself? And with that, as we come together, let's celebrate with one chant of Om. Take a deep inhale. And now feel your breath expand into your belly and your entire rib cage so that you're using your diaphragm And as you continue to breathe through your nose, exhale and completely empty the breath. Let the belly hollow in towards your spine. So now deep breaths, even inhale, even exhale, using your diaphragm to feel that expansion of belly and lungs. We're going to move into a breathing technique called Bhastrika Pranayama, or bellows breath, in which we create a rhythm at a slightly faster pace, but a pace that you personally can be consistent with for 1 minute. And if you'd like to use your arms in motion with this breath work, we start with the elbows bent apart, about the height of your shoulders, hands like fists. And as you breathe in, you raise your arms straight up, but keep your shoulders relaxed and spread your fingers. Then as you breathe out, you rebend your elbows apart, refist your hands to the rhythm of your breath like this. So remember, mouth is closed, you're breathing deeply through the nose, your belly and lungs act like a bellow, right? Like an accordion, air filling up, air releasing. So I'm gonna go ahead and set our timer here for 1 minute. Let's prepare by bending the elbows apart, and you can close your eyes if you're comfortable to do so. Steady your gaze on one spot, like at the middle of your forehead. Ready? Begin. So this is a lung cleansing breath, enlivening for energy, but also helps to clear away clouds of the mind, help to cultivate clear focus. And relax, rest your hands in your lap for a moment, and just observe the effects of that pranayama. Begin to slow your breath down evenly in and out to your nose. Now moving into Ujjayi Pranayama, victorious breathing. And all the while softly narrowing the back of your throat so that you intentionally create a faint whispering sound as you breathe in and out, and the breath brushes past the back of your throat gently. So full balanced breaths. Now steadying your attention softly on to the rise and fall rhythm of your own breath. And that will be your metronome when we begin our Vinyasa flow, our breath-led movement. So we'll start with a rather simple breath-led movement, cat-cow, coming down to hands and knees, setting your wrists right under your shoulders as you spread your fingers wide, and setting your knees a couple inches behind your hips. On your next inhalation, take the time to glide your chest forward, then up, looking up as you roll your shoulders back, lifting your tailbone. And when you begin the exhale, start to contract your belly, looking down, doming your back, bottom of the breath there. And then again, inhale, draw your chest through your upper arms, coiling your chest up at the peak of the breath. And then exhaling, rounding, contracting your belly. And now just going on a few more rounds of Vinyasa or cat-cow for several more breaths. Listening to that faint sound. So in this, we're building concentration, which we studied last week as the 6th limb of yoga, the precedent to the 7th limb, which is meditation. So you can use your breath as an anchor, an object of focus. You can use your intention, perhaps phrased as a mantra for yourself, as an object of focus. Whenever you notice that your attention begins to wander away from what is here, what is now. So So utilizing these tools as well as the alignment cues within the physical postures, another means of becoming more embodied in your presence. Spreading your fingers a little wider apart, find a tiny grip underneath each fingertip. Root down the base of your thumb and index fingers. And then tucking your toes on your next exhalation, lift your hips high, draw them back into downward facing dog. And you might give yourself a few breaths there to just settle in through movement, like pedaling your feet in place. Perhaps swiveling your hips left and right, like you're doing a twist. Maybe even softly moving your skull and inviting freedom and relaxation to your neck. Feel how solidly rooted your hands are and how light your shoulders feel as they move back away from your neck. Bring more attention to your spine here and try to create the feeling of a flat back while firming your belly into your back. Lift your tailbone even higher if possible, and that might require bending your knees, especially at the start. And with your tailbone as high as you can, draw the front of your thigh bones back, right at the creases of your hips. Can you press that towards your rear wall and allow your heels to become heavier and heavier, even if they don't touch the floor? If your heels are on the floor, you might play with lifting your toes as if you're flexing your feet. And now steady your eyes on one point. Another tool for concentration is you relax your neck and listen to your breathing. Cultivating stillness here in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Bending your knees, look just past your fingertips. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, walk to the front of your mat, landing in a forward fold with your feet apart, hips distance, parallel. Bend your knees a lot here. And then reach your hands behind your lower back to interlace your fingers or grab a strap to hold in between your hands. And as you inhale, shifting your weight towards the front of your heels, lift your chest and lengthen your spine forward. Bend your elbows a little closer together. With your exhale, hinge forward from your hips. Keep shifting your weight forward as you drop your skull. And with your hands still together, reach them forward away from your lower back. And then softly shake your head no a few times. Lift your shoulders up away from your neck as the arms reach forward. Nod your head yes a few times, keeping your knees very bent so that your spine could find its fullest length here. You might even explore swaying your spine side to side, bending one knee a little bit more than the other one. Maybe you swing so much that your spine adds a slight spinal twist. If your hands are clasped, try switching the interlacing of the thumb and index finger on top. Notice if that feels any different in your shoulders. Long breath in. And through your nose, soft whispering breath out. And now lower your fingertips either on blocks in front of your feet, the ground in front of your feet, or on your shins. But really press with your fingertips. Feel the muscles in the front of your thighs and your belly engage. And as you inhale, draw your chest through your upper arms. Feel that sense of a flat back as you gaze forward. Draw the shoulders away from your neck, even longer through your spine here. Then exhale, take that with you to fold. From down to your feet, then inhale, sweep your arms to rise all the way up. Watch your palms touch overhead. Keep your shoulders relaxed, stand tall. Exhale, trace your thumbs down the midline of your body. Thank you, body, for being here, allowing me to move. Arms by your sides, palms facing forward. So we'll begin slowly. First round, we'll mark the route, and then we'll take several rounds of sun salutation A so that the repetition, these multiple times of moving through postures synchronized to a steady breath, can become a meditative state in itself. With your next inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Take your time to use the entire length of the in-breath. Palms touch at the top. Exhale, hinge forward from your hips, belly is strong. Back is somewhat flat. Press with your fingertips. Inhale, lengthen halfway, gazing forward. Plant your hands on the floor and carefully step into plank pose. Now here's where we're breaking it down. Let's pause here a few breaths. You could set your knees down if you want more support, or you could keep your legs straight and actively firm your inner heels back. Either way, stack your shoulders right above your wrists. Gaze about 1 foot ahead of your hands on the floor to lengthen your neck. Lift your navel towards your spine and try to maintain that feeling of a flat back. As you go into the next pose, which is Chaturanga, on an exhale, glide forward so that your shoulders pass your wrists about 1 foot ahead. Then bend your elbows to hug your side ribs. Chaturanga's right there, and then come all the way down so we can start in Cobra pose. Point your toes on the mat. Then try to press every toenail firmly into the ground so your knees are actually not touching the floor. And as you hug your elbows close to your sides, breathe in and coil your chest up. Let's pause for a few breaths in Cobra pose. So can you lighten the weight of your hands or even hover them for a moment and really use your back muscles to find that broadening and lift of your chest? Using more of your back muscles, set your hands down and then find length. Draw your sternum forward, draw your tailbone towards your inner heels. Find length in the back of your neck. Take another breath in, tuck your toes, and as you exhale, press up into your version of plank pose. Knees down or legs straight. Continue to lift your pelvis to enter downward facing dog. Now holding still, steady your gaze on one spot. Feel a slight gripping under each fingertip as your shoulders rise and your outer upper arms rotate towards the floor. Feel the highest lift of your tailbone as your belly firms in while pressing the front of your thighs back. Let's take 2 more deep breaths. This time, as you breathe in, bend your knees, look past your hands. Empty your breath first, and as you hold it out, lift your pelvic floor so that you can walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat. On an inhale, press with your fingertips and lengthen your spine forward. Exhaling, bow forward. Root down to your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms to rise. Watch your palms touch overhead. Exhale, trace your thumbs down the center of your body, entering mountain pose. And now let's continue 1 breath each movement. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway up. Step into your version of plank as you breathe out, continuing through Chaturanga, that's forward and down. Now Cobra or upward facing dog, breathe in and coil your chest up. Keep the legs lengthening. And as you exhale, hollow your belly to lift your hips. Into downward dog, find stillness with a steady gaze as you listen to your breath. 3 to 5 cycles. When you're ready to step or jump, look forward and empty your breath first. Lift your pelvic floor as you travel to the top of your mat. Then inhale to lengthen halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale to rise, looking up as your palms meet. Exhale through your heart center, arrive in mountain pose twice more at your pace. Inhale the arms up. So I'm just cueing as reminders, but really listen to your breath to pace you. Exhale as you fold. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, walk to plank, then chaturanga or float into chaturanga. Inhale into cobra or upward. Exhale into downward. Pausing there for your own count, 3 to 5 breaths. Steady gaze. Take the last Surya Namaskar A at your own rate. Walk or jump forward. We'll meet in downward facing dog. As you arrive in downward dog, re-steady your gaze, your breath, your body. A few breaths here. Then please set your knees onto the ground. Come into a variation of plank here. Find that slight gripping under your fingertips. And then flexing your right foot, keep your right knee bent, and then begin to rotate your right thigh open to the right. Circle it back into your center. Inhale, open to the right. Exhale, back into your center. We're just lubricating the hip joint. A few more breaths. If you'd like to do this in downward dog, you could tuck your left toes and create the same kind of circles in the air. Switch direction, circling the right leg. Inhale. Exhale. We're about to get a little bit more into the hips, so we're just priming them. And then let's switch sides. Bending your left knee, flex your left foot to stabilize the knee. And then inhale, rotate your left thigh open to the left. And exhale, circle it in to center. Inhale, open. Exhale in. So you could be doing this on your hands and knees, or you could be doing this in downward dog. Breathing in. Breathing out. Let's switch the circles of your left thigh at the hip. Feel stability here through your upper body, especially if you're in downward dog. Your two shoulders remain evenly squared towards the front of your mat. Nice. And then from here, whether you're on hands and knees or downward dog, step your right foot forward, just between your hands. Come onto your fingertips here. And then set your left hand flat on the floor. Find that little gripping under each fingertip. Spread the left fingers wide, and then begin to flex your left foot, your back foot. Rotate onto the left pinky toe edge as if you're coming into side plank, but we're not. And then drag your right foot down the right edge of your mat, almost midway down. So your right knee and toes are facing your right leg is turned out. And then begin to lower your left outer hip all the way to the floor, but keep flexing your left foot. This is a great big side body stretch. You might feel it on this left side of your torso, lateral extension of the spine. And then as your right foot is on the floor here, bring your right arm inside of your right thigh and just give it a gentle nudge. You might find some stretch in your right glute. You might not. Just depends on how your body's feeling right now. Relax your shoulders down your back. Breathe here. Right forearm, right elbow Gently nudging the inner right thigh and calf open. Left foot is flexed, left fingers are wide, rooted. Now as you press the ground with the outside edge of your left foot flexed and your left palm, inhale, lift your left hip off the floor and then reach your right arm forward in front of your face, overhead, look up towards the sky, open the inner right shoulder and continue to circle that right arm to land inside of your right thigh. Lower your left hip again, back to that original position. And we're going to take this about 4 cycles. So keep flexing your left foot. Inhale, root down to rise. Right arm reaches in front of your face, circles overhead like a helicopter. Swings to the inside of the right thigh as you lower your left hip. Again, inhale, up and around. Exhale, down and press inner right thigh. Inhale, up and around. Make sure that left shoulder is in its socket. Exhale, down and press the inner right thigh. 2 more. Inhale, up and around. If you haven't noticed, this is a bit of core strengthening too. And exhale, sit and press. I think we're on the last one. Inhale, up and around. Exhale, sit and press. Now this time, inhale up, lower your right hand to meet your left hand, and then we're going to pivot the right foot to face the front edge of the mat. So you're in a shorter lunge. Rotate your left leg to turn out. So now you're going to face your left wall, coming into a half squat, Skindasana. Both thighs are turned out. Right knee is bent open, about 45-degree turnout, whatever it turns out. And then flex your left toes up towards the ceiling as you straighten your left leg. Left knee is facing the sky. Your hands here could be on blocks. If pelvis is quite far away from the floor, but try to keep your pelvis lower than your chest. Some of you might have your pelvis right on the floor. You might be sitting here. Take a deep breath in, relax your shoulders. Still in this pose, exhale to your nose. This time, root down to your hands, whether they're on blocks or the floor. And then exhale, transition to your left leg. So you're still facing the same wall, but you're bending your left knee, flexing your right toes up, pointing your right knee towards the sky. Same pose, Skindasana. Whether your pelvis is high up off the floor and your hands are on blocks, or your pelvis is on the floor, or some range of that, make sure that you're turning out your thighs from your hips, not from your knee joints. So your knees are in line with the middle toes under them. Breathe in. Breathe out. Take the blocks with you if you've used them, and inhale, lift up, rotate your right leg inward and pivot into a lunge facing the rear edge of your mat. So we're going in a circle here. So now you're in a high lunge with your left foot in front, facing the rear edge of your mat. Plant your right hand on the floor, find the gripping under the fingertips. Slide your left foot to trace the left edge of your mat. Right now it's the left edge, you're facing the back wall. And then flex your right foot, that's your rear leg, and come all the way down to sit on your right hip. So your left foot here is like a kickstand. Right in front, it's stepping on the ground. Bring your left arm inside of your left thigh and gently nudge your inner left leg open. Breathe. Draw your shoulder blades down your back. Notice if you feel any sensation along your right side of your torso here. Deep inhale. Allow your breath to greet whatever sensation comes up. And you might do so by picturing your breath entering that particular spot in your body. Now this right hand is going to be a base, so be solid with that slight grip under the fingertips and make sure this right shoulder stays in its socket. Flex your right foot. You're on the outer edge of it, the pinky toe side. And on your next inhale, lift your right hip off the floor and helicopter your left arm in front of your face. Reach it overhead. Open your chest towards the sky. Keep circling the left arm. And as you exhale, lower your right hip again and press the left arm again inside of your left thigh. That's 1 out of 5. Inhale, root down, helicopter your left arm. Turn your heart towards the sky. Exhale, lower, press your inner left thigh. Ooh, starting to rhyme. Inhale, up in helicopter, heart towards sky. Exhale, down to the ground, left arm, inner thigh. Inhale, up, helicopter. Exhale, down, press your thigh. Twice more. Inhale, up, helicopter, open the chest. Exhale, down, press your inner thigh. Last time, inhale, up and over. Full breaths here. Exhale, down and press. All right, you ready for the transition? Lower your hands at the rear edge of your mat. Left foot is still in front. You're in a shorter high lunge. Hands on blocks or hands on the floor. You're gonna rotate your back leg from the hip to turn out. As you turn to face the same wall you were facing in that half squat. Left knee bends, right toes curl up, right knee points to the sky. Either your pelvis is hovering off the floor, your hands are on block in this half squat, or you're lowering your pelvis to the ground. Breathe in, soften your shoulders, soften your jaw, breathe out. And now to transition. Inhale, press down to your hands and bend your right knee, curl your left toes up, same posture, different side. Skandasana. Full cycle of breath. Inhale, long spine, relaxed shoulders. Draw the breath out to your nose. Now rotating your left leg from the hip, rotate it internally so that you can turn to face the front of your mat. Pivot into a high lunge there. This time step left foot forward to meet your right foot and come to stand in a forward fold at the top of your mat. Bring your feet together to touch. Bend your knees together to touch. Sink your weight back towards your heels, entering chair pose. Place your right palm at the top of your right thigh as you press into it. Lengthen the left side of your torso you just lengthened in the postures before. Exhale, spiral your chest to face your right wall, entering revolved chair. Now you could just bring your hands to your heart and not use leverage. Or you could press your left arm against your outer right thigh and spread your wings. Or you could sit a little lower, hook the left elbow, join your hands in prayer. Find a gazing point to steady on for 4 steady breaths. Notice that your left sitting bone is pulling back towards the rear of your mat so that your 2 hips remain squared, supporting your lower back. Feel the rotation of your rib cage, especially right across your waistline. Sending your shoulder blades down your back. Find something you can relax for the last breath here in the pose. Great job. We're doing this. Inhale, come back to center to chair, arms up. Press through your feet, exhale, rise up. Lion's breath in mountain pose, deep inhale. Stick out your tongue, open your eyes wide. Back to Ujjayi breath through the nose, inhale. Through the nose, exhale. Bend your knees. Prepare for side 2, Utkatasana chair. Press your left palm into your top of your left thigh. Grow the right side of your torso and lengthen the spine forward. Inhale. Spiral your chest to the left and find the same variation of the twist you did on the first side. No leverage. Right arm is leverage. Maybe hands in prayer. Send your right sitting bone back towards your rear wall in an effort to keep your hips squared as you continue to spiral your rib cage. Relax your shoulders down your back and open your chest. And with a steady gaze, steady focus, 4 more breaths. We did it. Inhale through center, chair pose. Exhale, rise up. Again, lion's breath and mountain pose. Deep inhale. Clear it out, tongue out. Close your lips, smoothen your breath through your nose. Soft whisper at the back of your throat. Standing balance poses, hand to big toe pose, or Uttita Hasta Parangushtasana, option to grab a strap. So I'm going to face you for this one and I'll mirror you. If you do have a strap, let's hold it in the right hand. So we'll start with the left foot as the base. Bring your left hand to your left hip, spread your left toes, and activate the inner and outer arches of that foot. So it's like you're sucking energy from the earth, and then you're lifting the left kneecap, engaging the quad without locking it. And then draw the navel in and up, lift your pelvic floor, stand tall. Notice the stacking of your two shoulders over your two hips balanced. Keep that in mind as you bend your right knee off the floor to the height of your right hip, flexing your right foot. Feel how solid that right leg is. Now, if you're using a strap, step the ball of your right foot into the loop or into the middle of the strap. Bring the strap inside of your right leg, so you're holding it with your right hand there. If you're clasping your big toe instead, your right arm is also inside. Either way, pause and roll your right sitting bone down towards your inner left heel. Try to re-level your hips and shoulders, spine tall. Whatever degree you can keep your spine vertical, extend your right leg forward. And you want to feel the counter forces of pulling your foot and kicking it forward, because those two help to balance you upright. Relax your shoulders, steady your gaze, your breath. And now begin to rotate your right thigh externally, so you're turning out the leg before slowly opening the leg. Now find the amount to open your leg where your torso doesn't start to compensate by leaning sideways. And then extend your left arm out to the side. Feel the ground. Press down through the four corners of your left foot. Energize your left leg. Feel the energy rise up through the center of your body, all the way through your crown. As you take a deep inhale, feel the expansion of energy across your chest, across your arms, and then that drawing in of energy towards your center. It's moving in all ways. In yoga philosophy, there's names for these different energies, and they're generally called vayus, or winds. Now start to bring your right leg forward, whether the knee is bent or to some degree straight. We're going to switch hands holding the strap, or switch hands holding the outer foot. Use your right thumb, hook the right outer hip down to re-level your hips. Feel the strength of your standing leg as you lift your spine upright. Breathe in there. Now at your waistline, begin to turn your rib cage to the right. Maybe reach your right arm towards your behind you. Perhaps even begin to look behind you, but choose one spot to land your eyes on as we take a few breaths in Parita, or revolved Uttita Hasta Parangushtasana. Revolved hand to big toe pose. Deep inhale. Calm exhale. One more breath. Now direct your eyes forward very slowly. Yes. Bend your right knee in front of you. Catch hold of it with two hands. Stand tall. Breathe in. And then exhale, set your right foot down. Give your left foot a shake or circles if you need. And let's bring the feet together. Grab your strap if you're going to use it for side two here. And then just pause in mountain pose. Maybe even close your eyes. 2 breaths. Iron your breath out. And just observe what came up as you were practicing your balance in that pose. What's the aftermath of that asana? And then gently open your eyes. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Spread your right toes, activate the arches of your right foot, activate the right leg muscles. And then bend your left knee to the height of your left hip, flex your left foot, activate your left leg muscles. Strap around the ball of your left foot or big toe clasped with your peace fingers. Flex your left foot either way, and whatever degree you're going to extend the left leg forward, pull the foot back. So those counter forces help you to lift your spine as you press down to your standing foot. Plug your left shoulder into its socket. Send your left sitting bone downward towards your inner right heel. Now begin to rotate your left thigh externally like you're turning a doorknob before you can open the door. Now open the door, open the left leg, open the right arm. Now notice your spine. Does it begin to tilt? Where it starts to tilt, if so, back off a little from that leg opening and find the amount to open it where your spine can stay vertical. Yeah, great adjustments. How's your breath? Now, can you feel the earth? Press into the earth. So rather than simply letting your weight rest there, you're rooting to rise. There's active forces at work, active vayus. Energy rooting down, energy rising up. Energy pulling in, energy expanding out. Let's slowly bring their left leg in front. Keep your gaze steady. Switch hands. If you're not holding a strap, you're catching the outside of the leg. Keep flexing the foot. Use the left thumb. Hook the crease of your left hip down to re-level your hips. Press down with your standing foot. Lift the energy up to your crown. Breathe in. Exhale, twist to your left. Maybe raise your left arm back. Inhale, root down to lift the energy up. Exhale at your center, twist. Expand to your chest and arms. Now with your eyes steady, let's take 3 more breaths. As you exhale, begin to look forward slowly. Bend your left knee, hold it with 2 hands. Stand tall, take a deep breath in. And then exhale, set it down. Maybe give your right leg a shake, some circles. Let's separate the feet wide here, wider than hips distance. And then keep your knees bent loose. Right, parallel the feet, knees bent loose. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale, sway over to your left and circle like a windmill down across the floor, knees bent. Inhale, rise up. And then exhale, melt down one side. Inhale, up the opposite way. And exhale, down the other side. Now let's go the other direction. Inhale, scoop it up. And exhale to the other side and down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to rise. Let's bring the hands to the hips. Feet parallel, spread your toes for Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, roll your shoulders back, lifting your chest. Exhale, hinge from your hips, shift your weight towards the front of your heels. Notice that your toes are spread, not gripping the mat. And then keep your hands on your hips for a moment and draw in your lower belly. Lift your chest, lengthen forward. You can bend your knees any amount here. And then exhale, fold even more. Now reach your big toes with your index and middle fingers and clasp your big toes. It may require bending your knees more, may require separating your feet wider apart or coming closer together. So Padangusthasana. Your thumbs could press the mat down. Inhale, lift your chest while still clasping your big toes. Draw your sternum forward. Peel your shoulders away from your ears. And as you exhale, pull in the belly and hinge even more as you bend your elbows wide apart. Keep folding, let the crown of your head magnetize towards the ground while your shoulders rise away from your neck. Breath by breath, you might feel your sitting bones rise more buoyantly, finding full length from crown to tailbone. And then again, remember you could bend your knees any amount. Let's take 3 more breaths in this version of Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, come up halfway, pull your chest forward. Exhale, unclasp your big toes, bring your hands to your hips and bend your knees. Inhale with a flat back, lift your chest to rise slowly. Let's come down to our knees. Preparing for 2 rounds of Ustrasana, camel pose. Please take one of your blocks. As you stand on your knees, if you need more cushion, you could fold the mat in the area just under your knees so it's thicker. And then hug the block by its narrowest width between your thighs. Let's begin with tucking your toes behind you so that your heels are lifted to their tallest height stably. Bring your hands to your lower back with your fingertips face down. And gently press your hips forward so they remain directly above your knees. When you come into camel pose, make sure that your hips don't begin to glide behind your knees. Keep them forward, right on top of your knees. Now, as you hug the block between your thighs, imagine that you're trying to shoot the block gently towards the wall behind you. So spiral your inner thighs slightly towards your back wall. Well, that helps to broaden your sacrum. Now, counterbalance that action with elongating your tailbone downward towards the ground between your knees. That helps to lengthen your lower back. So you want to open your lower back in both directions. Now hug in your front ribs, draw in your belly, and as you inhale, puff up your chest and peel your shoulder bones back. Exhale, draw your shoulder blades down your back and begin to tilt your gaze up. Imagine you're holding an apple between your chin and chest. Keep breathing here. Now you could try back stroking your right arm and seeing if it might land on your right heel, and then just putting it back on your lower back if you need to. And you can switch sides and do that with your left arm. Back stroke it, take hold of the left heel, and then when you're ready, bring the left hand back to your lower back. So you're alternating. One hand supports your lower back and keeps your hips right above your knees. And then the other arm adds a rotation for the shoulder to open up and reaches for the heel. Or maybe you do both, hands and heels. So whatever variation you're at, give yourself 2 more full breaths. And as you're ready to come out of it, bring your hands to your lower back, contract your belly as you inhale to roll your spine upright. Take that block and you can place it right on your calves and just have a seat on the block for a moment. Maybe join your hands at your heart and just pause. Notice what you notice. Last round of camel pose, Ustrasana. Give yourself 5 to 10 breaths to practice it on your own. Whether you tuck your toes or you flip your toes so that your tops of the feet are flat on the floor. Breathe in, lift the chest, roll your shoulders back and down. Draw the tailbone down, keep your hips forward. You could do one arm back stroking and switch, or maybe both hands to heels, or both hands to lower back. It's your call when you're ready to come out. We'll meet sitting again, taking a few breaths to rest. Slow inhale, fill up your belly, fill up the 4 walls of your rib cage. And exhale slowly. Let's come onto hands and knees and we'll take a counterbalancing posture and thread the needle. Step your knees a couple inches behind your hips and your wrists right under your shoulders. On your next inhale, sweep your left arm towards the sky, open the front of your left shoulder. As you exhale, thread your left arm under your right bent elbow. Rest the left side of your head on the floor or on a prop. Square your hips, even in height. Flare your right elbow towards the sky, stacked over your right wrist. And then allow your breath to expand across your upper back here as you lengthen the sides of your neck. 3 more breaths. On your exhale, gently rise back to all 4s, hands and knees. And on your next inhale, raise your right arm, open like a wing. Use the exhale to thread the right arm under your left bent elbow. Rest the right side of your head on the floor or on a prop. And level out your hips. Make sure they're not swaying to the left. Flare your left elbow towards the sky, stacked over your left wrist. Send loving breath across your upper back. And anywhere else your body is asking for your attention here. Three more breaths. On your next exhalation, slide into child's pose, any variation of it that you prefer. Just a few breaths, exhaling to your mouth, long, deep sighs, or fluttering your lips, or chanting. Allowing any vibrational sound to create resonance, soothing your body and your nervous system. As you feel ready, with your hands alongside your knees, use an inhale to carefully roll your spine upright, sliding your legs in front of you to sit in stick pose, Dandasana, preparing for a forward fold. And you might choose to place a strap across the balls of your feet or to raise your arms here. Flex your feet apart, hips distance. Anchor your sitting bones and lift your spine while you relax your shoulders. Take a deep breath. And with your belly hugging your back body, exhale, extend your heart forward and begin to fold. And if you're not holding a strap, do hold on to your legs, maybe clasp your big toes. A few last breaths here in Paschimottanasana. Feel a slight lift in your chest as though integrating a baby cobra pose in your shoulders. Feel a slight lift of your navel as though incorporating a little plank pose in your lower back. This last breath here, can you exhale longer than you inhale? And then let your next inhale lift your heart and the rest of your spine. Come on down to your back. Whether you choose to right away set up for Shavasana or you give yourself 1 more minute for another resting pose of your choice, whether it be happy baby, a gentle spinal twist lying down, a short shoulder stand or plow or legs up the wall. Here's an excerpt from Pema Chodron's book, our book club book for spring, How to Meditate. We meditate in order to remove the root of suffering. Getting at the root of suffering begins with returning to the present moment, with coming back to the breath. This is where expansion can occur. Expansion won't happen if you try to push through or escape your meditation. It won't happen by resisting what is present for you in the moment. The present moment, you will find, is limitless. It seems paradoxical that expansion and settledness can happen as we learn to return to the present moment, especially when what comes up in the present moment is anger or sadness or fear. But it is precisely through this act of coming back to the present that we can open to love and joy and the dynamism of life. In other words, meditation brings us the blessing of equanimity. Equanimity, or emotional balance. Equanimity, emotional balance. In fact, next week on Thursday, our integrative yoga is going to focus on the art of equanimity. We're going to dive even deeper to meditation there. So if you haven't already, please gently lower your body into corpse pose. Any props it may need to feel supported, to feel relaxed and still. And once there, do a brief mental checking in with each part of your body. Just an inward gaze from crown to soles, from left side to right side. Letting your breath flow easily and naturally, and softening your attention even deeper within you. Settle in. For those of you that would like to join me sitting in meditation, and feel free to stay lying down if that's what you prefer. But if you are meditating, I recommend you find a position for your body that allows your mind to be attentive as well as calm. So yesterday we focused on sensation as the object of meditation, and today we're going to I'm going to guide you through focusing on thought as object of meditation. And here is an idea from Pema Chodron, actually from one of her teachers. A good analogy for using thoughts as the object of your meditation is like being the doorman in an expensive, elegant hotel. The doorman opens the door and lets the guests in. The guests come in and then go on out the other side. But the doorman doesn't follow them to the bathroom. Similarly, our thoughts come in and the thoughts go out, and we, the doorman, just open the door, notice them, close the door, open the door, notice, close the door. Thoughts come and go, they come and go. So that's the essence of this meditation. So as you situate your body, feel its openness, lengthening the spine. Feel the parts of your body that are anchored down to the surface below. Rest your palms if you like face down on your lap, or take the Zen mudra we practice, right palm over the left, thumbs almost touching, arms hovering in front of you. Eyes open, or a soft, steady gaze on one spot that allows your head to stay neutral. And now feel your gentle, easy breath just come and go its natural pace. Sitting here, begin to notice any thoughts that might arise. Again, you're like the doorman or the doorwoman, just observing. Notice that they may be few thoughts or many thoughts. Without having to judge them or give value to them as good or bad, notice if they're continuous flow thoughts, or are there a few thoughts with a little space and then some more thoughts. If you start to feel overwhelmed with this practice, just return to feeling your breath. It's soft, gentle, natural flow. Notice if your thoughts come in a few sentences or a few paragraphs. Notice if there's this sort of space, and after that the thoughts start again. Or maybe there's a lot of space, and then a few words, and then a lot of space. Just notice. Do your thoughts create one continuous dialogue? Are you feeling tired and experiencing a lot of nonsense thoughts? These are your thoughts just as they are right now. The intention is to place your mind on the thoughts themselves, and the method for doing this is just to observe. And so we culminate this practice of formal meditation, joining your palms to meet at your heart and perhaps bowing in with gratitude to yourself for having done it. But how might you bring this exercise of watching your thoughts and just observing them neutrally as you go about your day? Just taking moments and just see where that leads you. This idea of paying attention to how your thoughts come and go. Keeping it simple. Let's close this practice with one chant of Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.